how I quit my 9 to 5 to start a cleaning business. So I know many of you out there are in a similar position to me. You had a full-time day job and you were starting a cleaning business on the side with the eventual plan to move over into the business full-time. And that was certainly my plan, but I didn't want to risk everything and jump into a business where I wasn't sure it was going to succeed. So my plan was always to move over once my cleaning business was generating the same income that I was getting paid in my day job. And that was something I successfully managed to do, and that is something that I'm going to talk to you about in today's video. So I'm going to cover 4 key steps that I went through to eventually move over to the business full-time. So first of all, I had an office day job. So how did I manage the business alongside my day-to-day running of the business? As I've talked about in many other videos on my channel, generally we want to try to get new clients to get in touch with us by either calling us or filling out a form and requesting a quote. So for me, it was impossible to take calls during the day. You know, I was working in an office with all my other colleagues, so I wasn't able to take any inbound calls. So for me, my website predominantly focused on messaging. Rather than having phone numbers all over the website to initiate someone to call us, we used the primary call to action was a lead form. So a lead form was, you know, a request a quote. Someone would leave their contact details, their phone number, their email, how regularly they wanted cleaning, and then the size of the property. They would submit that form and that form would come into me and it would be request a quote. Because I wasn't able to take phone calls, what I was able to do was to send messages or send an email and just respond to those new clients and then get back to that person, you know, for example, either during my lunch hour or at the end of the day, or if I was following up the following day, the morning before I started work. So, you know, I know many of you guys out there who don't have the luxury of remote working, maybe you're still working in an office. This was how I did it. I removed all the phone call to actions from the website and focused primarily on this lead form. Then I was able to message people by email. I was able to text them without obviously having to speak to them. And that was the way I really got started, you know, processing those first client leads. As the lead volume started to increase and as we started to advertise and get more inquiries, that was when I started to use a telephone messaging company. So inevitably, although, you know, you could focus on getting most of your people to fill out a request a quote form, there would still be lots of people who would call in. And I didn't want to, you know, effectively leave those leads to go cold. So the telephone messaging company that I use basically charged for every single message that was taken. So an inbound call would come in, that person would take the message of the caller, you know, I have a 3-bedroom property in this particular zip code, I'm looking for a weekly clean, can you give me a quote? And that telephone messaging company would take down the details. They wouldn't be able to give pricing or anything like that, but they would be able to say, yes, I'll get someone to call you around lunchtime or towards the end of the day, depending on when that lead came in. So rather than someone calling through and just getting a, you know, no answer, I was able to pick up client bookings because this telephone messaging company was taking down these client details. They'd take down the email, take down the phone number, so that when I was able to follow up with them, I could follow up with them. So the telephone messaging company worked really well at the beginning. What I found was that as the business started growing and as I started booking in more clients and generating more revenue, we moved away from using a telephone messaging company to a virtual assistant. The difference really between the telephone messaging company and the virtual assistant was that the virtual assistant was able to help more with these inbound client inquiries, and effectively, you know, they could give a price, they could even book that client into the calendar because the VA had access to scheduling software and things like that. So it was really taking the messaging company, what they were able to do, and taking it to the next level. Obviously, if someone had called our VA and the VA was able to say, yes, this would be a $200 a week service, would you like to go ahead? And the client would say yes. They could then take their card details and book them there and then into the calendar. So we were able to pick up a lot more clients once we started using the VA Obviously, the VA was more expensive than using a telephone messaging company. So that was the reason why, we started off with a messaging company. I didn't want to invest loads and loads of money into this new venture. I still wasn't sure if it was going to completely work, to be completely honest. So I wanted to grow the business, and once the business was generating revenue and generating profit, at that stage I said, yes, we have the profitability now to bring on a more expensive virtual assistant. But what the virtual assistant was able to do was to book in those clients directly. I was still working full-time in the office. I wasn't able to take these calls, but by paying a virtual assistant to do that for us, it just meant that I was able to grow the business even though I was still had my full-time day job at the time. So point one was how I got around working full-time in an office whilst running the business. Point two was then about payments. Most companies are used to taking card payments. Most clients are used to giving card details, getting charged on their card. Cash payment isn't really a thing. But when I was starting up my cleaning business, and this was well before COVID, cash payment was still a thing. There are certain parts of the country and certain areas of the world, there are lots of people that still will pay with cash, maybe certain demographics of clients, maybe your older clients, for example, still prefer to pay by cash rather than card. But really, when you are running a cleaning business alongside your day job, you want to make things as easy as possible. Obviously, if you're taking cash payment, generally your cleaner would take the entire cash, and the way that I would used to do it, I would then have to meet up with the cleaner. The cleaner would keep their percentage of the job, and then they would give me the rest. I would then have to go to the bank and then transfer it into my account. And there were all sorts of admin problems if there wasn't an exact percentage split available. I'd need to change the money and give them the money, or I would send them a bank transfer, a bank wire to the cleaner. So there's lots of admin involved, and to be completely honest with you, I had my full-time day job. I didn't have the time to do this. So this is why at the very start, very soon after I started my cleaning business, I said that we only take card payment. And the card payment, similar to the VA, you will pay more. You will pay your credit card fee. If you're using Stripe, the payment processor, you will pay Stripe percentage. But what you pay out in money will save you a huge amount of time. And this is really, really important, because when you have your full-time day job, you don't really have much spare time. So I opted for card payment rather than cash payment pretty much at the start. I would strongly advise everyone else out there that is in the similar position to do the same sort of thing as well. What happens is most of these scheduling softwares out there, ZenMaid and Booking Koala are two that I talk about an awful lot. These scheduling software allow you to book in clients into your calendar, allocate the jobs to your clients, send out reminders and follow-ups and all those types of things. But one of the great pieces of functionality with these softwares is that it integrates with Stripe, and Stripe is an online payment processor, so that when a client books service and you take their card details, what you can do is through your scheduling software, through the Stripe integration, you can automatically charge the client after the service. And that just completely negates any messing around with cash payment, moving cash around or going to the bank or doing any bank wires or anything like that. So setting up a card payment rather than cash payment would be something I would strongly advise to do as well. So point three is then we used experienced contractors than employees. The way that I set things up in my business was that again, time was a real scarcity. I was working Monday till Friday, working quite long hours. So I knew that there was not a lot of spare time to train up new cleaners, particularly during the week. What I planned to do at the beginning was that I wanted to hire contractors or experienced contractors who had experience cleaning homes. I didn't want to have to go through and train them. And by interviewing and recruiting these people, what I used to do is I would require at least 6 months house cleaning experience or 6 months hotel cleaning experience. Those are my two prerequisites. And if that person had that experience, I would then arrange for them to have a telephone interview. I would speak to them. And really it was just to get an idea of that person's level of English. The English language ability was important for us. And also, if you schedule a telephone interview and you call that person up and they don't pick up the phone, that is a big red flag as well. So I would find experienced contractors through websites and recruitment sites like Indeed. I would schedule in a telephone interview to test their English language ability. And then if they got through that stage, then I would then invite them to a test clean. And what the test clean was that I would get someone to come to my apartment on the weekend, because I was working Monday till Friday, so I would get them to come on a weekend and get them to clean for 2 hours. This would be a paid for test clean. And so as well as seeing the level of cleaning of that person, again, I was able to see, do those people turn up on time? If they were late, this would be a reason not to take them forward in the process. What was their general manner? What was their English language ability? Because I was effectively seeing face to face what it would be like to have that cleaner clean for my home. So the test clean phase was really important. And because I was working Monday through Friday, I couldn't do it during the week. So I had to run the test cleans at the weekend. And when I was starting my business and growing my business, this worked really, really well. Again, this would be something that I would strongly recommend to people to do when they're looking to grow their business whilst juggling a day job during the week. So fourth and finally, I then used paid marketing channels to get those new clients into my business. When we talk about the cleaning industry, and I talk about this in a number of my other videos, there are lots of different niches within cleaning. You've got residential cleaning, you've got office cleaning, window cleaning, carpet cleaning, but the two main categories are really house cleaning versus office cleaning. The commercial cleaning business can be a great business to be involved with, but to get those new contracts, it does require a fair degree of face-to-face interaction. You go into an office or a commercial property in town, you're doing a walkthrough, you're giving a bespoke price. Whereas house cleaning, you can get new clients pretty quickly without having to go anywhere. You can put a bit of money to work in some paid marketing channels like Google Ads, or you can use some of the pay-per-lead sites like Bark or Thumbtack. And by setting up those accounts, you can simply buy leads, run ad campaigns, get people to get in touch with you, and you can generate leads and booked clients doing that. You don't need to leave to go to that person's home. You don't need to do in-home estimates, for example. You can simply give a quote over the phone. We used to do it based on the frequency of the cleaning and the size of the property, and we would obviously check the location as well to make sure that we served that area. So paid marketing was really, really important for us, and it is far easier generally to run paid marketing campaigns if you're running a house cleaning business rather than a commercial cleaning business. So we focused on the house cleaning business at the beginning, and we got those first handful of clients really by putting money into work into online marketing channels. So as I talked about a minute or so ago, Google Ads was one of the most effective channels that we used when I was scaling my business. In this next video, I'm just going to give you a quick intro to Google Ads and how you can set it up and run it for your cleaning business, and it will hopefully give you a big step up in getting those first handful of clients into your company. So I'll see you on the next one.